Welcome pre-cal students to class today on this Tuesday the 18th. Hope you guys are doing well. Hope you're ready to learn some math today. I'm still recovering from this cold, so my voice is a little rough. Let's go ahead and get started. There will be a test this Monday, so if you're not going to make it to my house, please let me know no later than this Sunday, okay? Test this Monday at my house. Now, there will be a review sheet this Friday. Remember how we're doing this from now on. I'm not posting a video for the review sheet. I'm not doing that. When I give you the review sheet on Friday or Thursday, whichever day I decide to give it to you, I will give you all the answers to the evens, and you have all the answers to the odds in the back of your book. And you should, if you want to work on the review sheet, feel free to. If you don't, that's fine. That's up to you. But after class is over on Monday, I will then make a video that evening with the leftover problems that we did not get covered in class on Monday. And again, I'm not even slightly mad that you guys aren't watching the review sheet videos, but if you're not watching them, there's no need for me to make them, okay? And so I am going to not make a review sheet video. You'll work out. You can work on the review sheet as much as you want. You'll have the answers to check your answers. But if you have any questions when you come in Monday, I will answer those. And then when you leave, I'll do a video for the rest of those problems. Okay. And then your integrity sheets. Make sure you're staying on top of those, okay? Sorry guys, my throat is really rough. All right, here we go. I hope the quiz was a nice review of last week. Quizzes are there for me to know how much you know, but they're also there to review so you can kind of see where you're strong and weak on the material we covered. So I hope that quiz was a nice review for you. Remember, those quizzes are due today. We are going to look at slope of lines today. The slope of a line. This should be a topic that looks familiar to you. This topic should be familiar. You say, well, Mr. Earhart, we did it in Algebra 2. Correct. The difference in pre-cal and Algebra 2 is when we cover familiar topics, we go faster and we cover more topics in one class period than I ever did or any other teacher when you were in Algebra 2. Okay? So this topic should look familiar, but we are going to go pretty fast today. And also, I don't give you a lot of examples because you should already know this material. But it's a good, healthy review. So your heading today is slope of lines. Slope of lines. The lesson number is 1.3, and the date, if you keep track of that, which I encourage you to do, is the 18th. The date today is the 18th. Now, you know my philosophy. I go fast, and you pause the video when you need to. Okay, let's start off with a definition for the word slope. I mean, that's a good place to start. So here's a definition. Slope is the ratio, so we're going to have a fraction, the ratio of the change in the height to the change in the horizontal. So if I have a line like this with a point here and a point here, and I were to draw an imaginary triangle like this, I could see what the height was from here to here, the change in height, compared to the change or the movement in the horizontal. And that's a definition of slope. Now, you don't need to know that. I'm not going to ask you to recite it, but that's a good definition of slope. If you want an informal definition, another way to put this informally is that slope is how steep a line is. That's all that slope is. Slope is how steep a line is. Okay? That's all that it is. So with that in mind, let's go ahead and look at some examples of slope. Okay? Let's look at some examples of slope. Okay. Now again, sorry, excuse me. Now again, I go fast. You have to pause the video. But I want to talk about these 4 examples of slope, okay? First of all, I'd like you to draw a line in your notes that goes downward from left to right. Here's the left side of the line, and it goes downward to the right side, left to right. Just like a book, you read from left to right. So going from left to right, the line is going downward. No, it's going upward, Mr. Well, no, it's going upward from right to left. But if you start to the left side and go to the right side, it's going downward. Whenever a line is sloping downward from left to right, the slope will always be negative. Would you please make a note of that? Now, over here, notice this line is going upward from left to right. Here's the left side, here's the right side. Starting at the left and going to the right, the line is going upward. So those types of lines always have a positive slope. Do you see that okay? Now, a horizontal line always has a slope of 0. There's no work to do, there's no problems to solve. Anytime you have a horizontal line, its slope will always be 0. Okay? Which makes sense, doesn't it? If it's a flat line like this, like in Ohio where I'm from, it's all flat country. Well, if it's flat, then the slope's 0. It's not going up and down at all. And if the line's vertical, going straight up and down, we say the slope is undefined. Okay, so if a line is going up and down perfectly vertical, it does not have a slope. The slope is undefined. You need to be familiar with this. Okay, lines going downward left to right, negative slopes. Line going upward left to right, positive slopes. Horizontal lines have a 0 slope, and vertical lines are undefined. All right? Now, there are two different scenarios for when we are finding the slope of a line. Please listen to me carefully. Each scenario requires a different formula, and both formulas are very important. They are very important. Okay, let me talk about this over here. Whenever I ask you to find the slope of a graphed line, and you have a picture of that line like I do right here, you use this formula right here, rise over run. Let me say that again. Whenever I give you the picture of the line like this, an actual graph, and I say, find the slope of this line, you use the formula rise over run. Whenever I give you 2 points and I say find the slope of the line that passes through these 2 points, you use this formula right here. Let me say that again. Whenever I give you 2 points, not the picture, I don't give you the picture of the line, I give you 2 points like this, and I say find the slope of the line that passes through these 2 points, you use this formula right here, y minus y over x minus x. Now, I'd like you to go ahead and copy this in your notes, and we're going to find the slope of this line. Now, what you have to do is you have to, please listen to me carefully. This should be a review from Algebra 2. I want you to find 2 points that are whole number points. For example, let me make this a little, well, I'm not going to make it bigger, but look at this. See this point right here? That ordered pair is like it's over -2, but look, it's up 1, 2, 3.5. So that ordered pair right there is -2, positive 3.5. Do you see that? Let me say it again. This point is over -2 and up 3.5. I don't want that half. I don't want to use an ordered pair that's got a half in it. It's going to make the problem harder. So I'm looking for ordered pairs that are whole numbers, like right here. Look at this. Right there, I have a point that goes right through -3 and +4. And then I have another one that looks like right, they're hard to see, but it looks like I have another one right here, right there. And that's exactly +6, -1. So the first thing you want to do when I ask you to find the slope of a line and I give you the actual picture, the actual graph of the line, the first thing you do is you want to find 2 points that are actual whole number points. Okay, that's the first thing you want to do. Now the next thing you want to do is you want to draw a triangle that connects these 2 points. Now you can either go over like this and then down, or you could go over like this and then straight up. But whatever triangle you draw, make sure it's a right triangle. In other words, you don't want to come to right here and then come down here, make a triangle like that. It's not going to work. It has to be straight over and straight down. Now, here's the formula you're supposed to use, rise over run. So the top of your fraction is the rise. In other words, you want to know how high this line is here, the rise, the line going up and down your triangle. Okay, so you put your pin here and you don't count. See, a lot of students put their point here, their pencil here, and they say 1. You don't count until you make your first movement. So your pencil's here, you go up 1 space, that's 1. I'm going to change color so you can really see this. So you put your pencil right here and you go up, that's 1, then again 2, then again 3, 4, 5. Let's do it again. You put your pencil right here and you went up each tick mark, but you did not count until you made your first movement. So you're here and you make your first movement, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So the height of this line is 5, so your rise is 5. Now your run. Well, let's see, your run is the length of this line here. So you put your pin here and you don't count until you make your first movement. So you're here and you go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There we go. Let's do it again. We'll go from this direction. You start here, but you don't count till you make your first movement. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So your run is 9. So there you found the slope of the line. The slope of the line is 5/9. Now hold it. Let's go back a page. Remember when a line is sloping downward? It's always negative. Remember that? Notice this line is sloping downward from left to right. So your slope is -5/9. Okay? -5/9. Now, let's come over here. What if I give you 2 ordered pairs like this and I say find the slope? Well, okay, no problem. You just use this formula right here. Now, please listen to me carefully. This is your x, this is your y, this is your x, this is your y. Mr. Earhart, what y do you put first? It doesn't matter, but if you put this y first up top, when you get to the bottom, you better put this x first or you'll get the problem wrong. If you choose to put this y first, right here, that's fine. But when you get to the bottom, you better put this x first right here. So in other words, choose a point that's going to go first and stick with it. For me, I just always start with the point over here. So I'm going to put a fraction bar. In order to find the slope of the line that passes through these 2 ordered pairs, I have y minus y. Well, here's my first y. Here's my second y. So I would have 7 minus a -1. Now, in the denominator, it's x minus x. That's going to be -3, 5. So -3 minus 5. Now, if we simplify the numerator, we'll get 8. If we simplify the denominator, we'll get -8. And 8 over -8 is -1. So there's your slope. Slope is -1. Now, over here, when you used rise over run, I really should have put a plus minus in front of this formula because you've always got to check to see if your slope is positive or negative. But you don't need to do that when you use this formula. When you use this formula right here, you will always get out the correct sign as long as you do everything correctly. Okay? Now, having said that, also, m is denoted by the letter m. So really for this line here, we should have said m equals negative 5/9. M is the letter they use to represent slope. So over here I would write m equals a negative 1. Okay? Now see students, in Algebra 2 we would cover this lesson and give you a bunch to practice. And the next day we'd cover this and give you a bunch to practice. We're covering old familiar material, but we're going very, very, very fast. Okay? Let me get a drink here and we're almost finished. Now, what if I asked you to do this on your homework tonight? Graph the line and determine its slope. Well, I taught you how to do this already. First thing you do if you're going to graph this linear equation is make a table of values. Now, usually we put in 0, 1, and 2, and you're allowed to do that, but I recommend that you don't because you have a fraction right here. So I would like to put in x values that I know when I multiply by 3/2, I get out whole numbers, not fractions. That should make sense. So I'm going to use 0, 2, and 4. Now how do I know to use those numbers? Because of my denominator. My denominator is a 2, so as long as I choose numbers that are divisible by 2, then I'm going to get out whole numbers. So that's why I chose those numbers. If I put a 0 in for x, 3 times 0 is 0. 0 minus 4 is negative 4. If I put a 2 in for x, I will get a 3, and 3 minus 4 is negative 1. And if I put a 4 in for x, I'm going to get out a negative, let's see, did I do that wrong? Put in a 2, put in a 4, and I will get out a positive 2. There we go. Looks like a 3. A positive 2. So, there's my 3 ordered pairs. We're supposed to graph this line. So let's graph it. 0, negative 4 goes here. 2, negative 1 goes here. And 4, positive 2 goes there. Next, we're told to find the slope. Now, would you please listen to me, students? I don't care if you draw your triangle with these 2 points. That's fine. Or if you draw your triangle with these 2 points. That's fine. Or you can draw your triangle with these 2 points. Did you know you get the same answer either way? It doesn't matter. I'm going to go ahead and leave my triangle here since I connected these 2 points here. Alright, so let's find the slope. Well, first of all, I'm going to have to find the rise. Remember, we have an actual graphed line, and whenever you have an actual graphed line, the formula you want to use is rise over run. So let's find my rise. My rise starts here, and you don't count until you make a movement. So I start here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So the length of that line is 6. So my rise is 6. Now let's try the run. I'll start here, and my first movement is 1, then 2, then 3, then 4. So the length of that bottom line is 4. My run is 4. So if I reduce that, my slope is 3/2. Now don't forget to check for positives and negatives. The line is sloping upward from left to right, so my slope is positive. So I would write m equals 3/2. M equals 3/2. Let's look at a couple more and we'll be finished. Let's graph x equals negative 3. Now I need you to take some notes on this. Whenever a linear equation has an x and no y, the line will always be vertical. Would you please make note of that? The line will be vertical. So whenever you have a linear equation and there's an x and no y anywhere, this means that the graph will be a vertical line. So x equals negative 3. We go to the x-axis to negative 3 and we draw a vertical line. That's simple. Isn't that easy? If you'll memorize that, it's a piece of cake. If you won't, well then you're not going to do well. So we graphed a line, now find its slope. Well, we learned way back yonder that vertical lines always have undefined slopes. So my slope is going to be m equals undefined. Okay? All right, one more and we're done. Pretty short video. Okay, whenever you have a linear equation that has a y and there's no x anywhere, you're always going to get a, yep, you guessed it, the opposite of vertical, a horizontal line. Okay? So anytime you have a linear equation with a y and there's no x anywhere in the equation, you will get a horizontal line. So this is your y-axis, this is your x. Y equals 5. So you go to your y-axis and you put a point at 5 and then you simply draw your horizontal line. Now it doesn't get any easier than that, okay? Now we graph the line and now it says find the slope. Well, that's easy. Horizontal lines, as I taught you earlier, always have a slope of 0. So m equals 0. Isn't that easy? So there you go. Now we covered a lot today. It's review. It's stuff you've had before, but it's very important we go over it again, and we covered it very quickly. Now it's your job to do the homework. And like I've always told you guys, I would not watch the video until you've done all the homework, checked all the odds in the back of the book, and then checked the evens with the video. Then any problems you've missed, then watch the video and get some help, okay? So here's your homework assignment. Please work hard on it. I don't think it will take you a very long time. Call or email if you have any questions at all, and I hope you guys have a good day today.